Welcome to the deep dive. Navigating online advertising, it can feel like you're always hunting for shortcuts, right?
Absolutely.
And Google Ads, well, they offer some pretty tempting ones, especially with their automated features.
Uh,
So today, we're going to unpack one of those automated assets in Google Ads. Our aim, well, it's to give you a really clear understanding of why leaning on them too heavily might not be the golden ticket you're hoping for.
that's right. And just to give a bit of context, for about a decade now, our team at AdExpert, we're a Los Angeles-based online marketing and web dev agency. We've been helping businesses, really make the most of their online presence.
Mm-hmm.
And a big piece of that puzzle is getting Google Ads right, driving those crucial conversions. We've seen firsthand what works and maybe even more importantly, what doesn't work when it comes to maximizing your ad spend.
Exactly. So you've probably run into these automated assets inside your Google Ads account. Google pitches them as, an easy way to enhance your ads effortlessly.
Yeah, that's the pitch.
But we want to dive a bit deeper today into whether they truly serve your specific business goals or if maybe they come with some hidden trade-offs.
Think of this as a bit of myth-busting, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
We're not saying all automation is inherently bad, not at all. But we want to equip you, the listener, with the knowledge to make really informed decisions.
Right.
We'll look at the potential downsides of relying too much on them and really highlight why, in a lot of situations, taking a more hands-on approach to your ad assets can actually yield, well, significantly better results.
Okay.
And we'll even touch on those limited cases where automation can be a genuine ally. So let's get into it. What exactly are these automated assets that Google Ads offers?
Okay, so picture this. Google giving your ads a sort of automatic boost. Automated assets are basically extra bits of information, snippets, that Google can dynamically tack onto your search ads, your display ads, even Performance Max campaigns. They're designed supposedly to make your ads stand out more on the search results page and, in theory, grab more attention.
And Google offers quite a range of these. You've probably seen dynamic site link extensions. So instead of you manually setting up extra links below your main ad copy.
Yeah, the ones you usually add yourself.
Exactly. Google tries to guess relevant pages on your site and just adds them automatically. Then you've got dynamic callouts.
Right, those short, snappy phrases.
Yeah, little highlights that Google cooks up based on your website content, sort of automated selling points.
And we can't forget structured snippet extensions. These are like auto-generated lists that show categories of your products or services.
Precisely. And then there are automated locations, which just pull your business address straight from your Google My Business profile and stick it on the ad.
Okay.
Plus, you might see dynamic business names and logos pop up, pulled either from your site or your Google Business profile. And lastly, dynamic images. Google can even pick images it thinks would look good with your ads automatically.
Now, on the surface, this sounds like a massive time saver, doesn't it? More info in your ad, potentially higher visibility, what's not to like, right?
That's the idea.
Google suggests these features are all about making your ad copy richer, increasing click-through rates.
And that is the ideal scenario Google presents.
Mm-hmm.
And look, in some very specific, very tightly controlled situations, you might see a small lift, maybe. However, and this is what we're focusing on today, there can be some pretty significant drawbacks if you just let these automated features take the wheel completely.
Okay.
The first major one, control. Or maybe the lack of it. The erosion of control.
Let's dig into that lack of control, because for me, the biggest worry is the limited say you have over your ad messaging. That feels really fundamental.
I do.
Your ads are often the very first impression someone gets of your business online. Do you really want to leave that entirely up to an algorithm?
You absolutely hit the nail on the head there.
Yeah.
When you hand over control to Google's automation, you risk inconsistent branding, big time.
How so?
Well, the automatically generated ad copy might just not align with the specific tone, the voice, or the key messages you've worked so hard to craft for your brand.
Right.
And there's also a real chance of irrelevant content showing up. Maybe Google pulls in, outdated information or details that aren't really the main selling points you want to push right now.
And this isn't just about a message being slightly off-brand, is it? It could actually create real compliance headaches.
Oh, definitely. Especially if you're in an industry with really strict advertising regulations. Think about finance or healthcare.
Yeah, legally required disclaimers, specific wording.
Exactly. Stuff you have to include. Automation might completely overlook those crucial bits, potentially putting you in a very tricky situation.
Yeah, that's risky.
Think about that medical practice example. If dynamic structured snippets start listing services they don't offer anymore, or maybe never even offered at that particular clinic.
Oh, wow.
That's not just misleading. It can seriously erode trust, damage their reputation, and of course, kill their conversion rates.
Okay, that makes sense. So
Right.
lack of control is a big one. What else?
Another area where relying too much on automation can get problematic is the unreliable performance across different search queries.
Meaning?
Meaning, what works for one keyword might be completely ineffective or even counterproductive for another. And because these automated assets adapt dynamically, their effectiveness can just be, well, all over the map.
So the flexibility is actually a downside sometimes.
It can be a real double-edged sword, yes. Just because an automated site link happens to be okay for a broad search term doesn't mean it'll be the right landing page for someone doing a much more specific search.
Like searching for a very specific product feature.
Exactly. Imagine someone searching for eco-friendly blue widgets for small apartments. A generic site link, just dumping them on your main widget category page. That's not helpful.
Right. They'll bounce. They wanted the specific eco-friendly blue small ones.
Precisely. They bounce. Similarly, dynamic callouts might highlight some generic feature, like free shipping, when what that searcher really cares about is the eco-friendly aspect. It dilutes the ad's impact.
And the structured snippets.
Again, they could pull in incorrect details or maybe list features that aren't relevant anymore, just causing confusion and frustration for potential customers.
So if you're doing it manually.
If you're in Google Ads Manager, manually setting up your site link extensions, carefully crafting your callouts, specifying your structured snippets, you have complete control. You can tailor that messaging precisely to the specific keywords and ad groups.
Which ensures a much tighter alignment with what the user's actually looking for.
Exactly. Much better alignment with user intent.
And this leads us to something that might sound a bit surprising. A potential negative impact on your click-through rates and, crucially, your conversion rates, even though Google often suggests these things boost CTR.
Right. It's really important to look beyond just that initial click. Sure, an automated asset might make your ad physically larger on the page.
More visible.
More visible, potentially leading to more clicks. But those clicks might be completely worthless if the user lands on a page that doesn't meet their needs, or if the info in the ad wasn't quite what they expected.
Okay, so think back to those dynamic site links sending people to the wrong landing page.
Yep.
You're going to see a high bounce rate, right? People click, get annoyed, leave immediately.
Exactly. They didn't find what they were looking for.
Yeah.
Wasted click, wasted budget. Similarly, if those automated callouts aren't shouting about your most compelling, unique selling points, the things that really make you stand out from the competition.
You might get the click, but not the sale.
Precisely. You get clicks, but you won't necessarily get conversions. And consider things like price extensions. If Google's automation pulls outdated or just plain wrong pricing info,
Oh, that's bad. Customers hate that.
they feel misled, frustrated, it kills the sale. The core point here is that manual control lets you optimize your assets, not just to grab clicks, but to drive actual conversions, the actions that really matter to your business bottom line.
Okay. So given all these potential pitfalls, are there specific types of automated assets that you generally advise businesses to be extra careful with? Maybe even think about turning off?
Based on our experience, yeah, there are definitely a few that warrant a very cautious approach, or even disabling in many cases. Dynamic site links, like we've discussed, they just too often lead users down the wrong path.
Got it.
Dynamic callouts, they tend to be pretty generic. They lack that persuasive punch you'd want to craft yourself.
Okay. And what about dynamic structured snippets?
Also risky. They might pull descriptions of your services or products that are, no longer accurate or just not the most compelling things you want to highlight.
Right.
With dynamic images, you're basically handing over the keys to your visual brand identity to Google.
And Google might pick something unflattering or irrelevant.
It might. It could select images that don't fit your brand aesthetic or aren't high quality. Not ideal.
And dynamic business names and logos, they seem relatively safe.
You'd think so. But relying on Google to auto-populate these can sometimes, believe it or not, lead to ad disapprovals.
Really? Why?
If the info doesn't perfectly match what's in your Google business profile, it can cause conflicts. It's generally just safer to ensure that consistency manually.
Okay.
So ultimately, if maintaining tight control over your brand message and ensuring the absolute accuracy of your ad copy are top priorities, and they should be, then you need to be really selective about which automated asset settings you enable.
And sometimes disabling the more unpredictable ones is just the smarter move.
Often, yes.
Yeah.
It's the best strategy for control.
You also flagged specific dangers around automated locations. This sounds particularly worrying for businesses really focused on local customers.
It is, yes. This feature, it automatically shows your business address, maybe a map link, even distance info in your ads. It pulls it all directly from your Google business profile.
Which sounds helpful in theory for local search.
The intention is good, sure, helping local customers find you. But the lack of oversight can be a real killer. Google might pull incorrect address details, maybe an old location you forgot to update everywhere, or even a secondary non-customer facing spot like a warehouse or an admin
Oh
office.
no. So a potential customer clicks the ad thinking they're heading to a shop and ends up at a loading dock. That's not good.
Not good at all. It's a recipe for a terrible first impression. It leads directly to lost leads, a really frustrating customer experience, and of course, wasted ad spend.
Yeah, you paid for that click that led to disappointment.
Exactly. And imagine the customer who actually drives to a location based on your ad, only to find it's the wrong place or closed or not what they expected. Damage done.
And what about the visuals associated with automated locations?
Right. When you let Google Ads use merchant photos and rich media from your Google business profile automatically for these locations, you're again giving up control over how your brand looks in your ads.
So Google might grab like a low-res photo someone uploaded years ago or an outdated picture of your storefront.
It absolutely could. Or even just irrelevant visuals that don't reflect your current offerings or vibe. This can seriously harm your brand credibility.
And probably lower click-through rates too if competitors have nice polished ads.
Definitely. If their ads look more professional and optimized, yours might suffer by comparison. So, for businesses really prioritizing local search optimization, manually managing your location extensions is key. It ensures you have accurate, high-quality listings that are perfectly aligned with your overall Google Ads strategy. You avoid those potentially damaging errors.
Okay, wow. We've definitely covered a lot of the potential downsides and risks here, but you did mention earlier that it's not all bad. There are some situations where automated assets can actually be beneficial.
That's right, it's not black and white.
Can you give us a few examples of when automation might actually be a helpful tool, maybe with minimal risk?
Certainly. There are a few specific automated assets that generally offer more upside with less potential for negative consequences. Seller ratings, for instance.
Star ratings.
Yeah, displaying those customer reviews alongside your ads, generally that's a positive signal. It builds trust, social proof, and it can improve ad performance without needing much hands-on management from you.
Makes sense. What else?
Similarly, allowing Google to show longer ad headlines automatically can sometimes increase your ad's visibility and engagement just by taking up more real estate on the search results page.
Okay, a bit more prominence.
Exactly. And what about automated locations? You highlighted the risks, but you also hinted they could be useful sometimes.
Right.
Yes, and while, careful monitoring is still definitely advised, automated locations can be genuinely useful, primarily for local businesses whose main goal is driving foot traffic to physical stores.
Okay.
If your Google business profile is meticulously accurate and up to date and you manage multiple locations effectively, then this feature can make it easier for nearby potential customers to find you.
So the key is accuracy, and the primary goal being foot traffic.
Exactly. The common thread with these more generally beneficial automated assets is that they often focus on leveraging existing positive signals, like those customer reviews, or just on increasing basic visibility, rather than trying to dynamically generate core marketing messages.
Got it. So it really sounds like the most effective strategy overall is finding a smart balance between manual control and the selective, careful use of automation.
That's the sweet spot.
So what are some best practices you'd recommend for managing Google Ads campaigns with this kind of hybrid approach in mind?
Absolutely. A mixed approach is usually best for optimal ad performance. First, for your core ad extensions, I'm talking site links, callouts, and structured snippets, we strongly recommend manual creation.
Take full control there.
Full control. This gives you complete command over the messaging, ensures it's perfectly aligned with your specific marketing objectives for each campaign or ad group.
That makes perfect sense. And what about those potentially helpful automated features we just discussed?
So for things like seller ratings, yeah, enabling them is generally a good move to build that trust. And as we said, automated locations can be beneficial for local businesses, provided their Google business profile data is spot-on accurate.
But keep an eye on them.
Always keep an eye on their performance. Which brings me to the next point. It's absolutely crucial to regularly review your ad performance within Google Ads Manager.
Don't just set it and forget it.
Never. Pay close attention to which assets, manual or automated, are actually driving results, clicks, conversions, whatever your goal is. And don't hesitate to pause or disable any automated assets that seem to be underperforming or causing weird issues or sending traffic to the wrong places.
Active monitoring sounds like it's non-negotiable here.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
And one final tip.
Yeah.
When you're setting up responsive search ads,
Yeah.
consider manually testing different combinations of headlines and descriptions yourself first. Really figure out what resonates before you rely solely on Google to automatically generate endless variations.
So test your core message manually before letting the machine run wild.
Pretty much. Ensure your core messaging is effective before you let automation take over completely.
This all sounds like it requires, well, a pretty good understanding of Google Ads and definitely consistent attention to detail. For someone listening who's maybe feeling a bit overwhelmed by all this, what would you suggest?
Yeah, it can be a lot. And that's precisely where partnering with an experienced Google Ads agency like AdExpert can provide really significant value.
Okay.
Our team, we have the in-depth knowledge, we have the specialized tools to really fine-tune your campaigns, navigate all these complexities of automated versus manual assets, and help you steer clear of those common pitfalls we've been talking about. We're focused on developing tailored strategies that actually lead to improved conversion rates and a stronger return on your ad spend. Our experts are genuinely dedicated to delivering measurable results and providing customized online marketing solutions designed specifically to meet your unique business objectives.
So to kind of bring it all together then, the main takeaway here seems to be, while Google Ads automated assets offer this veneer of convenience,
Right.
relying too heavily on them can actually backfire. It can hurt your click-through rates, your visibility in search results, and ultimately those all-important conversion rates.
Exactly. The smart approach is really to be strategic, be intentional in how you use them. Take charge of your Google Ads strategy. That means manually optimizing your assets wherever possible, wherever control really matters.
Right.
And then only selectively enabling automation in those specific instances where it demonstrably adds value and, crucially, requires minimal ongoing oversight because you trust the source, like seller ratings.
And for those listeners who feel like, yeah, I could use some expert help with this, managing their ad accounts, optimizing extensions, really taking performance up a notch, you might want to consider reaching out to a Google Ads agency like AdExpert. We're based here in Los Angeles, but work with businesses both locally and, beyond. The focus is always on delivering real, data-driven results for our clients. We provide live tracking, live reporting, so you get clear, real-time insights into how your campaigns are actually doing.
Transparency is key.
And we leverage innovative AI solutions, too, to help you stay ahead of the curve.
So ultimately, we really encourage everyone listening to just think. Think about the level of control you currently have over your Google Ads messaging. Could a more hands-on approach, maybe combined with a thoughtful, selective use of some automation, lead to more aligned, more effective campaigns that truly serve your specific business goals?
That really is the crucial question, isn't it? Something to consider as you navigate the always changing world of online advertising.